So let me start by saying that you can't integrate the shadow by filling generic shadow work prompts, doing visualizations, reciting affirmations, or the worst of all, activating archetypes. Honestly, this is all nonsense. And none of this exercise promotes a living dialogue with the unconscious, and they aren't connected with real life. So they promote passivity, a childish mentality, and in worst case scenarios, dissociation and psychotic symptoms. So if you want to truly integrate your shadow, you must learn Carl Jung's original psychological principles and understand how the different parts of his theory work together. Because once you do, shadow integration becomes very practical. And before we get into that, let me tell you that once you join my newsletter down below, I will send you a copy of my book Pistis Demystifying Jungian Psychology and tell you all about Carl Jung's authentic shadow work methods. So now, let's go. So first of all, the shadow isn't an interior entity, because in reality, the shadow is simply a term that refers to what is unconscious. And that's why it's so important to understand psychodynamics, and that the relationship between conscious and unconscious is compensatory and complementary. And I want to keep things very simple. So basically, everything that is incompatible with conscious values will remain unconscious and form our personal shadows. And this also means that the shadow isn't evil, but neutral, and it contains both negative and positive elements. And this leads us to the most important concept in Jungian psychology, that is conscious attitude. So most people erroneously put too much emphasis on the unconscious and forget that the personal shadow is a reaction to the conscious mind. So this means that to meet our shadows, we first have to understand our conscious attitude. And simply put, this term conscious attitude is someone's modus operandi, and it comprises individual predispositions such as core beliefs about life, relationships, and oneself, as well as relatively fixed and universal tendencies. And the latter is where confusion usually starts, but these universal tendencies involve the psychological types and also the animus and anima. So that said, the psychological types are actually a method to understand how individuals operate on a fundamental level. And the first layer is introversion and extroversion, and the second is the four psychological functions. And these functions make two pair of opposites. So we have thinking and feeling and sensation and intuition. So again, to make things simple, an extroverted person will have introversion in their shadows and vice versa. A thinking type will have feeling in their shadows and vice versa. And finally, an intuitive type will have sensation in their shadows and vice versa. And now, to take this one step further, if you are a man, part of your shadow will be the anima. And if you are a woman, part of your shadow will be the animus. And both the animus and anima will acquire the qualities of the psychological functions that make up your shadow. So once you get this, it's easy to understand someone's main patterns and tendencies and what lies in their shadow. So let's take my example. I am an introverted man with intuitive tendencies. So this means that a great part of my shadow is the sensation function and the feminine elements of the anima. See, it's quite easy when you understand the framework. So now let's explore what methods Carl Jung developed. So contrary to popular belief, Carl Jung developed a tight methodology to explore and integrate the unconscious. And in essence, Jung proposed the use of the dialectic method in the therapeutic setting. So in other words, we want to establish a living dialogue with the unconscious mind to understand what's being repressed, bring it to light so it can be matured, and finally embody it in a healthy manner. So in this light, all of his methods, the psychological types, animus and anima, dream interpretation, and active imagination are tools that reveal the patterns, complexes, and archetypes that govern our psyche and provide a map for integration. It's also important to highlight how our language is constantly being permeated by the unconscious and review how our mind is structured. So if we adopt a symbolic attitude toward our speech and language, we are automatically establishing this living dialogue with the unconscious mind. But having said that, It's even more important to understand that integration isn't an intellectual exercise, as the foundation of integration is moral confrontation. So, in other words, if our real life and relationships doesn't reflect our inner work, this pursuit is meaningless and most likely childish and magical thinking, because integration requires action in the real world. So in this video, I explore the technical framework of shadow integration, but if you want a clear step-by-step to meet your shadow and integrate it, you can check the next video.